Hello and welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great day, and today I'm going to try to make an interface for a chat application. You know those apps where you message people. I'm going to try to make the front end of the app right now. It's not online or anything right now. It's just going to be a simple interface for the chat application. Oh, obviously I'm going to try to do that. Let's see if I can do that. I need to figure out the logic. I need to brainstorm and think about what goes where, right, and all that stuff. So let's do that. Let the terminal load. It's loading, and there we go. What I'm first going to do is create a new file, and then I'm going to save it. Alright, so this is going to be called the chat application um, front end. Let's call it the front end because that's what I'm trying to make, right? And it's going to be of type Python. There it is. Okay. Now let's get to the coding part. I'm going to import the Flet module, define a function, create a page object from the page class, give it an alias, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to call the app function and pass the original function in it. All right, there we go. Okay, so the next logical step would be to work on the interface. Yeah. So for the top, let me just at the top, I'm going to add an app bar. So FT is going to be the top. The app bar. Why is it not giving me the app bar? Here it is. FT.appBar. It's going to be at the top. Alright, and let's look at the parameters that it can take. Background color. Alright, let's do that. Let's make the background color a red. No, I'm going to try to make it a green. Let's make it a green. You know what? Let's try a different hashtag. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me a color code, the hex code for the color. So that I can select a specific color for the app bar to make it look beautiful. Alright, there we go, ChatGPT. Alright. Hello, can you give me the hex code for any color, let's for green color and Flet. Alright, let's try this. Alright, let me just remove the extra inverted commas, the quotation marks. Let me remove the extra quotation marks. There it is, and now we can actually select what we want. So I'm gonna go with try different colors, and let's see what works out. Okay, try this. And then what I want to do is I want to add it to the page. Add the top to the page, and let's try to render it. Let's try to see what happens. Okay. Now that is the top of the app bar, the top of the app, and it's green. That is like, yeah, okay. It looks nice, so we can go ahead and add some other things to it, like deleting. Okay, let's add something deleting, right? Deleting means what you're adding at the start, right? You're adding something at the start. Let's see that icons dot. Okay, so you can add. I'm gonna add some icons here. Uh, give me the icons, all of them, and Flet. Let's see that icons. All right, so ChatGPT is now going to tell me about all the icons that are in Flet that we can actually use. All right. So let's see what we've got. Okay, I see that icon's at home. Let's try that. Let's try that. We can try that. Home. Okay. I see that icon's at home. No attribute. Icons object has no attribute set. Attribute internal. Icons object has an attribute. It has no attribute. Icons object has no attribute. A naming mistake. I see that icon's at home. Alright. That's a small I. Let's see if this works. No, that is not working as well. Working code. Oh, okay. Alright, I get it now. We need to we need to call the class first. We need to instantiate the class. Let's instantiate the class st.icon. Alright. And then so you can see that this is a class. So we instantiated the class, and now probably this should work. Yeah, there it is. The home button, it works. And let's give it a color. But first we're gonna see, yeah, there it is. Color is there. Let's give it a color of like, I guess, white. It's gonna look good with the green color. Yeah, much better. Okay, home is there. And now let's what else can we add here? Imply leading, title, center title. Okay, let's try the center title. Let's try the center title. Now first, let's try the title. Let's try the title. Leading with automatically. Alright, we're going to try the title now. This is the first parameter. This is the second. And now we're going to go with the third parameter, which is the title. Let's see how the title works. Okay. Oh, okay. It takes a control. In that case, I'm gonna give it a text, and I'm gonna say value. No. Value is equal to so chat application. There it is, chat application. So let's see how it goes. Is it gonna get centered? Is it gonna be next to the home icon? Um, Let's see where it is going to be. Okay, chat application. So it is like right next to the icon, and I want it to be in the center, right? So what if I try, we know that there is a center title here, right? Center title, so bool, but it takes a bool value. Title over here takes a control, but center title takes a bool value. So does that mean like we can give it a property or something? Let's see, let's see. Center. No, this does not take a value. Center title is equal to true. Let's see what happens. I just gave it a true. Center title is like equal to true. Is this gonna center the title? Wow, it actually did center the title. So that is lovely. You know what? And the best thing about this is that this is actually a parameter, right? This is a parameter. I was thinking that like title would take an internal parameter, right? So I would have to like use center title inside title as a property, but it turns out that is not the case. I just had to use center title as a separate property. I mean, as a separate parameter, right? So like center title, so leading is the first parameter, and then BG color is the second parameter, title is third, and center title is the fourth parameter. So that is exactly what I needed. Is there like an end title to this? That would be lovely. Elevation, first material, title spacing, tool vertex style, visible, adaptive. Okay, so now I want to try to add something at the end, right? At the end. So how do I do that? Okay, so I have the title at the center. All I need to do right now is, also I want to give the text some color. How do I give this a color? Color, alright. Color is equal to white. I gave the text a white color, so let's see. It should like look better. Alright, and let's give it some weight, some font weight. Weight is equal to bold. ft dot font weight dot bold. That sure work. In case you did not see that, here it is. So if weight is equal to, you declare the parameter. I think this is a built-in parameter variable, and then inside it you store the font weight class. You take it out from the Flet module, and then you take out the bold constant from the font weight class. That's it. Okay, much better. This is the chat application. Okay, so we need a text at the end, right? So let's add another text, right? So ft.text, and what's giving me an error? Positional argument cannot appear after a keyword argument. Hold it. Keyword argument. How many keyword arguments do we have? So leading is the first keyword argument, BG color is the second, Title is third. Alright, so we can do that, no problem. Let's see that text, so that is not a problem. I can give it a keyword argument, and then I'm going to give it a value and call it the, okay, so what should we add? What should we add here? I was actually, you know what, I'm not going to give it a text. I'm actually going to give it an icon again. I'm actually going to give it an icon. So let's try it. Like last time, ft dot, hold it. Leading. Oh, I forgot. Trailing, leading and trailing. We just need to add the trailing. That gave me that, I was so like, trying to figure out how do I like add something right at the end, because like how is that going to be possible, right? And then I figured it out. We have a leading, so that means we can have a trailing. But wait, it is not giving me the option. Why is it doing that? Leading and trailing. But it's not giving me the option. That is so weird. Let me just add the same icon. Let's see if this works. ft dot icon ft dot icons dot let's see if this works, because leading is actually working, but there's no guarantee that the trailing is also going to work. There might be a 90% chance that it might not work. Okay, I stopped it. Yeah, you see that unexpected argument trailing. So trailing is not working here. So we need to ask ChatGPT what kind of like. So trailing is not working here. What? Key matters. This is the first, this is the second, and then trailing, this is supposed to work. You mean if I just change the position, you're saying that it's gonna work? I mean, we can try that. We can definitely give that a try. We can definitely do that. So, like, add it over here, comma, and then this. Okay, let's see if this works. That actually did not work. So trailing is got an unexpected argument. Trailing got an unexpected argument. Yeah, bar does not have that. This replaces trailing. So what do we use instead of trailing? Actions is equal to this. So I need to use actions, okay. Let's use that, I guess. Actions is equal to, and then actions takes a list. Yep, a list of controls. So let's give it a list of controls, I guess. Okay, now icon is inside the list of controls, and we gave it to action, and it definitely works. There it is. Alright, looking good. Now let's change the icon. Okay, it works. Can you tell me the three-lined icon in Flet? So I'm looking for the hamburger, yeah, hamburger, yeah. I was actually typing three-lined. It's actually hamburger. ft.icons dot menu. Okay, menu. Here we go. Give it a menu icon, please. Let's do that. Let's do that. Give it a menu icon, and there it is. Press the play button, and this should definitely work. There it is, the hamburger menu. Okay, it works. What I want to do next is so the top is done. Next, we're gonna move to the middle, right? So I'm gonna create a variable. This is not a built-in variable. This is a user-defined variable. I'm doing that. What I'm gonna do next is no. I'm gonna work at the bottom now. At the bottom, what do I add? At the bottom, like I can add a row, right? See that row? I can add a row and controls. It's gonna take a list of controls. And in the list of controls, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna try to add a text field. Let's add a text field. Let's add a text field, which also takes a list of controls. Text field, alright. No. I'm gonna give it a label. What else can we actually use here? There are a lot of options. Do we have like something like this? Hint text. There it is. Alright, hint text is there. And how to use it? String. Okay. Enter text. I did not add it to the I did not add it to the page. So there it is. Add it to the page, and there we go. Also, I want to change the color of the icon, the color of the menu icon to white. Damn. Let's see if it works. Okay, it works. Okay, it definitely works. It is looking great. Okay. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna add an icon. Let's add an icon. The text field next to it. FT the icon. FT that icon. And then these brackets, round brackets, and FT dot. I don't know. Let's give it an elevated button. Let's give it an elevated button, and that is going to be, I don't know which one to select. In this, I want to select what kind of button I can use for the elevated button. Most probably a message button. Alright, ChatGPT is going to tell us the exact button name, and then we're going to use it. Alright, give me, oh, there it is, ft.icons.send. Okay, so, there it is. And send button, this is it. Icon is equal to ft.icons. Send. Icon button. We can actually use the icon button as well. Icon is equal to ft.icons.send. There it is. Alright, now let's see if this works. Okay, it works. And let's give everything a width and height. Page dot width dot, I don't know, page dot width, page dot window dot width. This is gonna be equal to like 600, and let's give the let's give it the height at 600 as well. Okay. Now enter text. Okay, so this works. This is all I wanted. Also, I want to test out something. Alright, so it does work. But icon button text field, okay. Does it have the max length? No, max lines. Maximum lines, 3. Alright, let's see if this works. Okay, it works. Definitely works. What I want to do next is alright, so now let's work on the middle thing. That's what we actually need, right? That is what we actually need. Okay, so this is gonna be the middle portion. Well, we're gonna, every time the button is pressed, right? Every time the button is pressed, a container is going to be added to the middle. This is going to be the container. Okay. Content is equal to that. Alright, value is equal to, the value is going to be the value of this. And that is going to create a problem, definitely. That is definitely going to create a problem. So what I need to do right now is take all this out of here. take all this out of here, and because that is going to create a big problem for me. I can't access the values, which I do not want. Text field. Let's call it the text field. The text field. Let's call it the icon button. Alright, there it is. Have to value this. Now this is going to take the value of the text field dot value. Alright, so what's going to happen next is, so like whatever stuff that is typed into the text field, right? When I press the button, the send button, that is going to put the container in the middle, right? It's going to put the container in the middle. There it is. I put the container in the middle, so whenever I type send, I click on send, it's going to send the whatever stuff it is in the middle. Alright, so this is the icon button. Wait. And at the bottom, we're going to add some stuff as well. We're going to add at the bottom, it's going to take a list of controls, right? And that is going to be the text field and the icon button. The icon button. Alright, this is going to be at the end. Okay, now let's work on the sending thing, right? So on click, it's going to trigger a function. This is going to wait for the action, the event to happen, and it's going to get the event, it's going to ignore the event, and it's going to trigger the function. Icon clicked. I just gave it a random name. And we're going to put that somewhere, no worries. And now we're not going to add middle, we're going to hide it, because look what's going to happen. Okay, so let's define the icon click function. Let's define that. Alright, so whenever that is clicked, what that is going to do is it's going to define a container, and it's going to put whatever is typed in the text field, it's going to put it in this. And now it's going to put it in the container, right? And then we're going to wait. And we also need to add it to the page as well. And what it's going to do is that's going to add middle to the page. It's going to add middle to the page. But there is another problem as well. Wait. So initially there is going to be like nothing. Value is equal to nothing here. It's going to be a container, and it's also going to be a content. But inside the content, we're gonna add a column so that it can take much more values, because we know that a container can only take one value, right? And we don't want that. We need lots of values. So let's give it a lot of values. Let's give it a column. There it is. Alright, now let's close the brackets for the content. Alright, so what I'm going to do next, okay, so I gave it a container. Inside the container we have a column, and inside the column we have the text. And this is going to render everything correctly, and let's give it the expand is equal to true as well. Let's give it that as well. Alright, now expand is equal to true. It's not taking any value right now. Nothing here, that's correct, but the container is not taking any value. Alright, so let's give it a height, I think. I give it a height of 500, so let's see if that works. So the page height is 600. Let me give it less height. 400. So expand is equal to true is not working right now. What if I just remove expand is equal to true? What happens? If I just give it a height of 400, okay, this is not working. I want it to expand, right? Expand is equal to true. I want the container to like take up the whole height. So let's ask ChatGPT. So the container is not expanding vertically. Let's see what ChatGPT tells us. Why is the container not expanding? Well, this is a layout concept issue, not a bug. Your container isn't expanding because of how flat layouts work. Yeah, I definitely did this. What? You mean column? No. I was supposed to give it to the container. This is the bracket, right? Oh, okay. Alright, I get it. I gave it to the container, and now let's see if this works. Oh, it's working. It took up every space vertically. It took the vertical space. Alright, it works. Alright, so when the button icon is clicked, what it's going to do is, okay, this is a logic that I need to work on. So whenever the button icon is clicked, right, the send button, and we've typed something in the field, I want that to appear in the container. It's supposed to, like, first, if there's some value, like, if middle dot controls. Okay, middle. Wait. I have a container. That is not working. It's not working. How do I do this? How do I do this? Okay, I have a column and okay, so if middle dot, what about the middle? If, but there is always going to be something in it. Alright, so I want to access a value, nothing here. So if middle dot controls a value, then controls dot remove. So I'm trying to, if there, what's going to happen is when the icon is going to be clicked, it's going to check if nothing here is still there. It's going to remove that. How do I access the value? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT how to access the value, right? Controls dot value, because that is not accessing right now. Text field dot value. Just tell me how to access it. I just need to access a value, that is it. I can later on do that. Just tell me how to access it according to how I was doing it. Middle is a container. Container does not have controls. Oh, okay, okay, okay. A container does not have control. It has content. Only on inputs. Okay. The value has access like this. Middle dot content dot value. Okay. Yeah, middle dot content, which is a text. Oh, it works. It works. Yes, it works. Definitely works. Alright, this is working. Let me just remove this. I don't need this right now. Okay, so this is the middle. It's gonna be the middle. This is gonna be content. See, this is how we learn by making mistakes. Wait, what content is this actually? Value. Alright, yeah, it works. If there it does have a value, which it does, it's gonna remove that. Okay. That's cool as well. Wow, that is actually better. You know, that is actually a better way. I did not think about that. That is really simple. The value is equal to the text fields. So whatever is typed in the text fields, dot value. Put that here, and then update the page. That's cool. Nothing here. So you can see that it's not working. When the icon is clicked, it's not replacing it. That's the problem. Let me go back to my original logic, right? I'll remove. What do I add inside the page dot controls dot? Alright, so ChatGPT is going to tell us what we're going to add. Page dot controls dot remove middle. Okay. So we're removing the entire container, and then what we're going to do is remove the entire container, update the page. No, we don't need to do that. That's going to cause a lot of jittering, you know. It's going to cause a lot of movement on the screen. You know what? Nothing to show here. Controls equal to... There is going to be another problem as well. Another problem. Actually, that text value is equal to default text. Okay. Alright, this should work. Okay, so if page dot remove, wait, page dot controls. It's gonna remove the Default text is a control, right? It's going to remove default text, and then it's going to append page dot controls middle dot controls middle dot content dot append. Okay, let's see if it works. Now what we're going to do is append. We're going to append a field. We're going to append the value of the text field. But this is only going to be done else. This should only be done in this case. Otherwise, it's going to append the text field value. Okay. So if the middle has some content, which is default text, it's going to remove the default text. It's going to remove the default text, and then it's going to append this. Let's see if this works. Column object has no attribute append. Column has no attribute append. Column object, how's this a column object? Oh yeah. Column object. Okay. Column object has no attribute append. Problem in your code. Yeah, middle.content is a column. Wait, middle.content is a column? Yes. Middle is this, dot content. This is the content. Is a column, yes. It is a column. Columns do not have append, and they have controls, which is a list. You need to append to dot controls and call page dot update. Oh, alright. I get it. Middle dot content, and then from the content we go to controls that append. Okay, now this should work. I forgot page updating. Okay. Okay. String object has no attribute build at commands. String object has no attribute build add commands. Directly to a column. A Flet columns can only hold controls. Oh, we're trying to append a string. Alright. So what we can do is we can put that inside a text. ft.text. So I need to understand the logic here because that's more important. The problem is trying to append a string directly to a column. We know that Flet columns can only hold controls. A list of controls, right? This is a string. It's not going to accept a string. We need to send it like a text. I convert that into a text. It works. Hello again. Okay, so it is actually working. But it's not erasing. Let me run this again. So nothing here should actually be removed, but it's not being removed, right? It's not removing nothing here. So there is some problem. So if middle dot content dot controls. Dot controls default text. It's gonna remove the default text. Let's see if it does that. Hello there. Let's see if this works. It's still not removing it. So there's a problem to remove. Page.controls. No. Page.content dot controls. Dot remove. Okay, hello there. It is still not removing it. So weird. So everything works. The only problem is that the default text thing is not getting removed according to my logic. It's a logic mistake. Okay, middle.control is a list. Well, let's check that out. Middle.content.controls. So this is middle.content.controls is a list. Yes, it is. So we go to middle and then content, and then from content we're accessing the control, which is a list. You are comparing it to a single control. Default text. You're comparing it to a single control. I'm trying to compare the list to a single control. Yes, default text is a single control because ft.text single control, obviously. This will never be true. Should remove from not page.control. Oh, okay. Is in the column controls. Check if default text is in the column controls. Okay, if default text is in the middle, .content.controls. Alright. Okay. I get it now. I totally get it. If default text in the middle, right? And then from the middle, we're accessing the content, and then we're going to access the controls. Alright. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove it. Middle.content.controls. Then remove default text. Okay. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Alright, it works. Definitely works. Okay, so you know when I press the send button, initially it doesn't remove it. It only removes it with the value, right? So like, why is this not working? Here's that update. So like you remember like when I press the send button in the very beginning, it actually doesn't remove it. It only removes it when I add a value. So that is so weird, right? That is so weird. So I need to remove this, else I don't need it. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna check if there's a value. No, this is gonna cause a big problem. So initially it's gonna be empty, right? Whatever I type in text field, it's gonna check for the if condition. Obviously default text is gonna be there. It should remove it and update the page. That doesn't work. Initially my text field is empty. The second time I enter some text and then I press send, it checks if there's like if default text is still there. It is obviously there. It removes it, updates the page, and then what happens? My text field value still gets added to the page. You know why? That is confusing because my although you see, you look at here, the else condition over here is not running. It is not running. So the first time default text, this is because of this middle, top, middle, bottom. Initially middle is here with the default text, right? Initially it is there. When I press send, it's not working because it's empty. Next time I run it, it's gonna check if it's there or not. It's gonna remove the default text, right, and else does not run. So imagine this is the second time running the application, right? I run it, the default text is still there. The if condition runs, it removes the default text. And this does not get run. This does not run because I'm only pressing it second time. Let me check. Let me check. It worked. It actually worked. I was actually right about this. It actually works. So the reason it wasn't removing it was, I wasn't updating the page like last time. So if I remove this, you're gonna see that what's gonna happen now. I'm not updating the page, right? If I press this, I press send. So nothing here didn't get removed. It actually got removed. It actually got removed. I didn't update the page. That's it. This is actually empty right now. Right? What's gonna happen next is on the next time I enter something, else is gonna run. Else is gonna run. It's gonna append the text view value. Since nothing is here, there's nothing. This is actually removed. It just didn't update the page. So that is why the UI didn't get updated. This is where the change happens. It adds a new value to the middle text view value. So middle now has a text view value, right? Which is this. So whatever value text view value has, it is in this now. And when the page gets updated, right, the new value is reflected. Although I do want to understand, when the application starts, all these three things are rendered on the screen. So middle, right, middle, when I run it the first time, because page.update is not here, it's actually going to clear the default text. So middle is still there because it's added to the page. It's just empty right now. There's nothing inside. It's the second time I run it, else is going to run because default text is not there. It's going to add the text value to middle over here, and alright, and it's going to update the page. So middle is already added there, it's just empty. And now it has a value, so that's going to reflect on the screen. You can see over here, middle, it was actually added at the start of the application. When the application started, middle was already there. It had a value. The value got erased, but the value did get erased, but we didn't see the changes here because update was not there, page.update. And the second time I press the button, the send button, else runs. The new value for the middle becomes text field.value that gets stored here, right? It's already there. And then in a very fast second, in a quick second, the value gets stored here and we can see it on the screen when page.update runs. I'm trying to tell you about the logic because that is actually very important in programming. Like, it is the most important part. Like making up the logic, right? That is going to make or break your program. The logic is very important. So when this runs, text with a value is going to append, it's going to add the value, right? It's not going to overwrite, it's going to add the value. So controls now and we know that this middle is a list of controls. So it can take as many ft.text controls as it wants, no matter how many we give it. So it becomes erased, empty. We removed it. It is still a list, but it's an empty list. And then we click this button second time. The list has another new value since middle is already on the screen. That value is then stored in this and reflected with page.update. Remember that middle was initially on the screen. It just got erased because of this. If it's empty, but it's still a list. And then else ran, it got a new value, and that value got reflected on the screen when page.update ran. That's how it works. Now if I add page.update, it's going to work. Let me close this. Alright, also the row, I want to give it like like a width. Let me give it a width. Where is it? Text field, the icon button, yeah, this is it. Let me give the text field a width. Alright. Width is equal to, let's give it a 300. That's going to be enough. Now let's run this. Let's give it like, so the window width is like 600, so let's give it, how about 500? Is that going to look good? 500 probably looks good. Alright, much better. Okay. Alright, so this is mostly done. Let me just give the container a color, right? Yeah, this is container. Let me give it like a color. Wait. Middle dot, uh, can I do container? Middle dot bg color equal to red. Let me give it a color. This should erase it. Hello. How are you? Okay, it works. But it's taking, because since expand is equal to true, it's going to take up the height. Okay. In that case, what I can do is, in that case, I can append. I need to make this a container in that case. It's going to append a container, and I can give it a color. I can give it a color inside it. Let me just give it a color. And BG color is not working. This should work. Yeah, BG color red. Okay, so it should be like a red container. This should not cause a problem anywhere. Erase it. Add a container. It's not adding a container. Hello? How are you? Hope you are well. Here it is. So check this out, check this out. So like, it should get removed, right? So when I run this, the value gets removed. Okay, the second time I run this, the text field value is like empty. It's empty, right? If I run this, something actually got stored there. But the color, this is the background color of the container. Since the container is empty, it's now rendering any size. So let's see if I can give it a size. Nope. How about a width and a height? Let's give it 100 width and a height of 100 as well. So now, according to my logic, the container should now show us, it should actually be shown, right? Because I gave it a width and a height. Container should actually be shown. Okay, empty. There it is. There it is again. So you can see it works. And if I run it again, how are you? There it is. It works. So this was like for demonstration purposes. So let me remove the width and the height. Also, something else popped up. Look. Something else. Initially, if there's some text and there's a value in the text field. No. elif. I need to use elif. Because there could also be a condition, right? In which there is a default text. In which there is, hold on. In which there is default text in the middle dot content, yeah, that controls. And besides that, there's also a value in the text field. The text field dot value. In that case, it should also do the same thing. From the middle, content dot controls, it should remove the default text. Right, it should remove default text, and it should so the first when I run the app in the first start, the elif condition should run, right? If I type something in the text field there, so there's going to be like two conditions. They should both work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to append middle.content.controls.append. I'm going to append the same container the text field of value. All right, there we go. Same stuff is going to happen. I could have just copied that whole thing. Alright, so if there is something in the text field and there's a default text, this condition should run. This should run. Alright, now check this out. So this over here, the first condition should run, which is if. It worked. And now I'm going to run the second condition. Hello, are you good? So the elif should run, but it did not run. It did not run. It still ran the first condition. Maybe I need to press enter. You see, it did not work. Okay, let's see why. In this, the elif condition never runs, even when I start the app initially and press the button. Logic and order problem. Python evaluates conditions in order, first if. Yes, at the start there is a default text. Oh, that is why the first if always executes and elif is skipped entirely. Only a matching mode. You want if default text and the text without value. In order, okay. Okay, so I just need to change the order, alright. So I can do that, that's not a problem. I can definitely do that. Okay. Add if to this. Let's take this thing, put it over here. If elif, alright. Alright, so this should like work. Alright, let's see if this works. Alright, elif, just add the message. Okay. Elif, if there's a value, I can just turn this into else. right? This should also work. So if I run it first, let's run it. Alright, so this is currently empty. It's currently empty. Text field is empty, and default text does have a value. So let's run this. Got erased. Just to check, I'm going to add some width and a height. We'll set a width and a height. Alright, default text. If there is something in default text, remove it. This is only the first thing, so this one is going to run when there's something in the controls, and it's also going to check the text view value, if there is a value. If both of them have something, that is only when this is going to run. Oh, okay. So initially I need to make this like the text field of value is empty. The text field of value is equal to none. Alright, so since initially the text word is not associated with the value. What do you mean? Oh, okay. Non-local, the text field. So it should work now? What is this? Cannot access where it is not associated with the value, and this is line number 7. The text field value. Does that work? That doesn't work as well. Alright. Okay, so this is not working out. Alright, let's reevaluate a bit. So if I run this, right? Okay, so let's test the first condition. So this should like, oh, it actually worked. Hold it. Okay. Is that update? So now over here, the first condition should run because I have a value in it. But no, it didn't run. So which condition ran? Let me check. The condition that ran. Wait. This could be maybe because I'm not updating the page. Page that update. There it is. Okay, so put a value here. Alright, yeah, so the first condition is actually running. So default text was there, and the text field had a value, so the first condition ran. It updated everything, it added a container, the text and everything, that's it. And now we need to test the second condition. If there is default text, right? If there is default text, that's it. So right now there's nothing inside it. So the first condition should fail because default text is there, but the text field is currently empty. It does not have value, so this should fail. elif should run. This should run. This means that default text does have a value, and that's it. And it's going to remove that. So let's see if this runs. Okay, second condition runs. It actually runs. And now the third condition should be like, so there's no default text. This is going to fail because there is no default text and there's no text field. No, wait. This is, default text does not have a value right now, it's empty. But text field does have a value, but both of these need to be true in order for it to run. So this first is going to fail, this is true, but both of them need to be true. So this whole thing is going to fail, this is going to fail as well, because default text is empty. I mean, default text does not have a value right now, it got removed, right? This means that does default text have a value? But we know that default text got removed entirely, which is this. Look, where is it? Yeah, middle has the default text. We know that default text got removed, and over here we're just like adding stuff to the middle. That's it. We're not actually messing up with the default value. So default text actually entirely got removed. It's not there anymore. This is gonna fail as well. So what it's gonna do is just gonna append whatever value there is. It's gonna append it to the text field. And to prove that, I can give this like a width and a height. So width is equal to 100, height is equal to. So alright, now check this out. So this is actually gonna. So the third condition is actually gonna run now. Look. First, it's gonna remove empty this, right? And now whatever there is, it should add a container. There it is. Else is running. Default text is not there. This should add another container. There it is. And now if I type hello, right? I just typed hello. So else should run again because default text is not there. Text field has a value, but default text is not there. It got removed. This is gonna fail. It's gonna fail. So what you need to keep in mind over here is that default text actually has a text control, right? And keep in mind that we're not overriding or appending inside the default text. We're actually appending. Look, we're actually appending a new container, entirely new container, and we're adding the value of the text field. It's an entirely new container. We're not storing anything in default text. You're completely removing it. It just goes somewhere. So if I run this, else should run again. There it is. It runs. It works. So the logic works. The logic works. Alright, so since everything is working, let me just remove the width and the height. We don't need it right now. Alright, there we go. Now what we want to do is I want to add some padding to each container. padding is, let's add like 20 padding, and for the text, I want to increase the size a bit. Yeah, there it is, size. Text field value, comma size is equal to 30. No, let's try like, alright, 30. Let's try 30. No problem. Let's do that here as well. Increase the size of the text to like a 30, and we're going to add some padding to the container. Alright, I'm adding some padding to the container. Oh, that is too much. Hello there. Alright, there it is. Okay, so everything is like too much. Let's reduce the padding to like 10. Padding is gonna be reduced to 10, and we need to reduce the size to like, let's give it a 22. That's gonna be okay. 22 is okay. Hello. Right. There it is. This is like still too much. So let's go down a bit, and let's go to like 15. Probably that will be okay. Probably. Alright, that is much better. Okay, and the border radius. Let's add some border radius, right? Because it's a container. Border radius. Let's give it a 20. That's gonna make the border corners round. It's gonna make them a bit roundy. Border radius 20. All right. Okay, this is looking good. What if I like give it 15? All right, 15 is good. This is looking good. What I want to do next is I want to do what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna add another row. Container just takes one thing. I need two things right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a column, right? Because I need more things inside this container. So what I'm just gonna add a column, and this is this. Let me check out the brackets. Controls. All right. This is where the column ends. Okay. Is that over here? It takes a list of controls. Wait. Actually, the controller is going to end here. Okay. fc.text. Alright. And then this is the bracket for the column. And this is the bracket for what? It's the bracket for the container. And then the append bracket, alright. There it is. Okay, so now I have my first text control. What I want to do next is I want to add, so this is a column, right? I want to add another text. And I want to make it go to the end. I want to give it the main axis alignment dot end. In order to do that, if I do that over here, wait, can I give this like alignment? Text align, no. I'm not looking for that. If I give the alignment to this column, right, everything is going to go to the end. So instead, I need to create a row. And inside that, I'm going to create a text control and give it a value. And now what I'm going to do is import time. I'm going to import the time module, and then what I'm going to do is value is equal to time dot. Wait, from the time module, what are we importing? Time. Alright. Local time, alright. So time dot time, I guess? What is this? Function. Alright, what can we add inside this? Return the current time in seconds. Time dot. Alright, time dot local time? What is this? It's a function. Okay, and what can we define inside it? Okay, in this I want the current time only. So ChatGPT is going to help us how to use the time module. Value st.text time.local time. Time. Yeah, this is it. STRF time, alright. Time.strf time. And then inside it, we're going to add the, okay, hours and minutes. Percentage hours, and then percentage minutes. And that's going to give us the time, alright. And then what I'm going to do next is, okay, I'm going to give it the alignment of the end. Alright, so what I did next was I gave it the alignment of main axis alignment.end. Alright, so let me just copy this whole thing. And I'm going to paste it over here. It's going to give us the same thing. Alright, let's see if this works. Hello there. What? Text object's not iterable? What does that mean? We got a new error. Hold it. Type error. Text object is not iterable. Text object. Come on, give me the line number. Line number. Is it like line number 23? Uh-oh. There it is. We got a new error, and let's try to fix this. List object. No, it's text object. Text object is not iterable. You see that row expects controls? Yes, it does. It definitely does. Oh, you mean this? Okay. The list controls. Oh, okay. Alright, definitely, that is correct. I just had to add a list. And that is why I said list text object is not iterable, because it's not in a list, so it cannot iterate on these things. It needs to be a list. Alright. The yellow bracket ends over here. Wait. This bracket, I see that text. Alright. So this is going to be a control. Inside the control, we have the first control, which is this. Alright, and then this is and then we're setting the alignment for the text, or the row. Alright, so this should work now. Definitely this will work. Now let me just copy this and paste it. I forgot so why we were facing that error, because I hadn't placed the list bracket, because row expects a list of controls, column expects a list of controls, and the container expects content, which can only be one. BG color, what? Line number 15. Column, got an extra argument BG color. What do you mean, BG color? I have a feeling I messed up something very bad. Oh, this is inside the column. I need to take all of this out of the column. Yes, that is why it is giving me the error. So what happened was, these properties were actually like for the container, right? See this? Yes, now it should work. Wait. We're still inside the container. Inside the container, we have a column, which is this, and the column ends over here. And we come out of the column and we enter the brackets for the container. And the container should have all these values. So this should work now. We were in the wrong scope. We're in the wrong place. We were actually in the wrong place. Okay, this should work now. Middle is undefined? What do you mean? Middle is not defined. Bro, how many errors do I have? Where did I type middle? What? Are you serious? How did this happen? Hello? It finally works. Hello, hello, hello. It works. Alright, so that is it. It works. That is what we wanted to do. Although it is like taking too much of the width, you know? It works. It works. It is giving me the current time. Okay, now all I need to do right now is set the width, right? Set the width of the container. Set the width of the container, which is going to be... So the width of the actual page is like, window is 600. So I can give this like 400, I guess. Let's give it like 400, which is equal to 400. Let's give it a 400 width. Let's see how it looks. Oh, much better. Okay, now let's see. What happens if we have like so much text, too much text? What is it going to do in that case? Oh, okay. So this is actually very nice. Okay, now let's see what happens. Oh, very good. Exactly what I was expecting. So it's not going out of the like width of the page. It's inside the window, the page window. So it's not going out of that. So that is cool. Although it does go down. Well, I mean, I don't know how to fix that. So what I need is that it doesn't take. I need to add a scroller, right? I need to add like a scroll. Let's ask ChatGPT. So everything works. Hold on, I want to give it a bordered color. If I want to give the container a nice little color. What about the same color, right? Green? Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Same color. Alright, where it is? Where is it? Alright. Now that should work. And now we're gonna have to do T. So, everything works, right? But the containers, when go down, they go down and are behind the text field. So I think I need to scroll. So ChatGPT is going to help us how to use the scroll. Yeah, the middle. You're saying is because the middle container of the column is expanding, but it doesn't scroll. Once messages overflow, yeah, overflow is the word I was looking for. They just go behind the bottom row. You need to enable scrolling. In Flet, you can do this using scroll F2 auto. Okay, on the column or container that holds your messages. Okay, so we need to put scroll on the column. All right. So what is holding the what is holding our middle? This is it. Expanding to true. This is holding everything. The middle is the container. So scroll. Is that it? Yeah, scroll. Although I don't see scroll on this. I don't see scroll on this. What about this? Does the column have scroll? Yeah, column has scroll. So when I was trying scroll on the containers, container does not have a scroll. Well, wait, it does. It does have a scroll. On scroll. No, 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 not on scroll. It's just scroll. On scroll, slides out of scroll. ft dot scroll mode dot true dot auto. All right, let's try this. Oh, look at that. ABC. All right. Let's see if this works. Oh, it works. It actually works. This is cool. Definitely what I was looking for. So that is the scroll, f.scrollmon.auto. Although I want to check it out, like, so the scroll on column works. I was thinking, can I instead add the scroll somehow to the container? I was trying to like go for the container, add the scroll to the container, right? Because that's the thing holding everything. What if we can add a scroll slightly different? Yeah, column is going to scroll as children vertically only, standard chat messages. All content inside the container. Yeah. In chat apps, we usually want the column to scroll so that app bar stays at the top. Only the messages scroll. If you want to scroll the container instead, you can do this. What? No, I don't think that's going to work. Allow scrolling of the entire content of the container. Alright, alright. So let's do that, I guess. Scroll is equal to scroll model.auto. Next to expanders equal true. Yeah, let's go for the container. Let's try the container. So comma, scroll is equal to ft dot scroll mode dot auto. And I'm gonna remove the scroll from the container. So let's see what happens. So I think it's gonna give me an error. It's gonna give me an attribute error. Yeah, I mean argument error. Because container got asked for argument scroll. Container does not have the scroll argument. So let's control Z and remove that thing. And there we go. Alright, so this is working. This is our final masterpiece. Let me just zoom in on the code so you can like watch whatever there is in this. What? What did I just do? Alright, there we go. So I'm gonna do that again. Go from left to right. Oh my gosh, can you please stop doing this, Python? Okay, let's try that again. So like this is the entire code. Alright. And then we go back. Okay, I'm gonna go down now. Also, you can check this code out on my GitHub. In my repository, whole code is going to be there. So no worries. And this is it. Let me just run it once more. Alright, so I'm gonna type, hello, it is a beautiful day. Alright, looking cool. There we go. You know, I can also add an image at the bottom if I want. It's gonna give it a like. It's gonna give it a beautiful feeling to, you know. Let's do that, I guess. Okay. Tech images. All right. All right. Let's try this. So instead, what I can do instead of like downloading the image, I can also use the URL. The URL of the image. I can do that as well. I can simply like copy the URL of the image and then paste it here. Look at these. What are these? You're so beautiful. All right, let's do this. Copy. I mean, we can copy URL later. We got the image. First, what I'm gonna do is like okay, so I want the image to be like a background image in the text field. No, not in the text field. It's gonna be at the bottom. There it is. Okay, so in the row, we have controls and comma ft dot image. Yes, 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 yes. It works. Class image src equal to Although I'm having these errors. It takes a list of controls. I need to add this inside the list of controls. Okay. I cannot add it outside because that would make it a property. And these are all lists of controls, so I can just add it here. So let's copy the URL. Although there might be other images. Okay. Paste. Alright. So let's see if this works. The image should now be at the bottom. We should see the image. What? There's no image? Wait. Oh, there it is. The image is actually there, but like it's covering everything. Also, it should be like a background image. Oh, okay, right. I made a mistake here. So I actually added it as another control to the page. And that's gonna mess up everything. I need to add it as a background image. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna ask ChatGPT again. So the image is added, but I only wanted to add it as a background to the row. Now let's see how ChatGPT can help us. Yeah, you want it as a background of the row. Oh, a row does not have a background property, but container does. Okay. Wrap your row in a container with the image as a background. We can do that. We need to wrap I need to wrap the row in a container. Alright, let's do that. See that container. It's because the row does not have an image property. As you can see over here, row itself doesn't have a background image property, but container does have a background image property. So we need to keep that in mind. ft dot container. Give it the container, please. Alright, there it is. You know what? Let's bring everything to the second line. This is getting... Alright. Let's end the brackets of the container over here. Everything is in a container now. All I need to do is like give it the property, the image property. Put a comma at the end. After the comma, I'm gonna ft.image. Here it is. So the row is done, right? The row is the first in the container. Row is the first content, but we also know that the container only takes one thing at a time, right? But I guess image is a property, I guess. That's what I understand from it. I guess that like the background color is a property, image is also a property, and that is why it's not giving me an error. Otherwise, if it was a control, it would have given me an error because container can only take one control at a time, right? One thing at a time, that's it. So that means that image is a property over here, just like background color. So that should not give me an error. That should work. That's the row, and now this is actually the property, I guess, ft.image. Okay. And we need to store it in a variable, alright. Although I'm not going to store it in a variable, I'm going to test if it works without a variable. Alright, and now what we can do is src, take it from here. Remove the FT image. You don't need that. Alright, this is the src. Alright, now let's see if this works. So it's still not showing the image. Options want transparent overlay. Background color is equal to none. Hold on. The container should have no background color. Okay. You need to set the background color. Alright, and let's see if it works. I still don't see the image. Image fit is cover, okay. ft.imagefit dot cover. Alright. Expected argument. Oh, that was supposed to be inside the image. Okay. I still don't see the image. Yeah, the image is not showing up. How you're passing arguments to container. Okay, you're passing positional arguments to row as a first positional? What do you mean? This is a row? Okay. Oh, it's not a recognized positional argument. Alright. Okay. And that is why I need the image variable, I guess. And now this should work. This should definitely work. And I think that is why the image variable was needed. I don't see the image still. Okay, we can do that. That's not a problem. Content is equal to that row. then it ends there, and we have the image. Alright, so the image thing is not working still. So I don't still see the image. Image SRC? Are you serious right now? Are you serious, bro? Image SRC? Oh, come on, you gotta be kidding me, bro. Okay, image SRC. What? I forgot a comma, definitely. I totally forgot about a comma. Alright, now let's see if this works. Unexpected argument, image SRC. Alright, unexpected argument, image SRC. What do you mean? This is exactly the same. That JPG, yeah, exactly the same. The keyword container, oh. Image fit? Image fit, okay. Now let's try image fit. Let's see if that works. Image SRC. You know what? Let's just Flet image. Let's see how the image thing works. Okay. ft.image. Alright. This is an example to help you out. Use image. So now probably we can get what we want. Add it to my code. Wow, I don't even know what I'm typing. Alright. You know, I don't think this is gonna work. We're gonna have to use this, ft.image. We're definitely gonna have to use that. Let me just see what stuff container has. Padding, alignment, gradient, border, shape, image. It does have image. It is a property of container image. Decoration image. Image is equal to ft dot decoration image. src is equal to, alright, let's try to copy the URL. And then what we're going to do next is fit is equal to ft dot image fit dot cover. Alright, it worked. Yo, that is looking so cool. Oh my gosh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. That is looking incredible. So trial and error, like that helps in learning. You can see the image, it looks so beautiful. Alright, they're looking cool. You know what I can do as well? If I want, I can make it like cover only the text field. I can make it like cover just the text field. In that case, I'm gonna have to give it two containers and then put the two containers in a row. I mean, this is good enough, I guess. What I can do right now is like remove the border from the text field. Border is equal to none. Alright, so is that gonna work? No, that did not work. I need to remove the border from the text field. Alright, let's add ChatGPT. So how do I remove the border from the text field? Border is equal to none. Okay, border is equal to none. The border is still there. So at this point, I think ChatGPT. This is there's no focus border. There's no focus border. Background of the container. You know, I did not think about that. The background of the container. So text field border is gone. Where is the text field sitting? Text field is sitting inside a container, which is bottom. Okay. So let's remove the border. So most probably it's gonna fix it. Nope. It is still there. The outline of the text field is still there. Maybe no outline? Okay. It's actually a default focus effect. An outline. Okay. So focus is equal to false. What this is going to do is prevents the focus outline highlight. Okay. Focused is equal to false. You know what? This is not working. I don't have a current solution for this. I'm just gonna end the video. Remove all the borders and stuff. Looking borders are gone. Also, I want to test what happens if I remove the background color from the container. If I remove the background color from the container, is that going to make a difference? It doesn't. Alright. This is good enough, I guess. Also, I want to change the color of the text to white. Change the color of the text to white so we can actually see what is in the text field. Alright, there it is. Okay. I just want to add some padding to the menu bar. I mean the hamburger menu. I just want to add something to that. Okay, let's add some padding to the hamburger menu. That looks better. Although, where is it? Okay. Now, add some padding. It doesn't have padding? What? Fill, apply, grade, weight, blend. How does it not have padding? Data, disable, visible, badge. So the hamburger menu is too close to the end. What do I do? Inside the icon. I need to add the icon in a container, okay. Alright, I didn't think about that. Add the icon in a container. That works as well. I mean, it's just a single thing, right? Well, how do I do that? Oh, I need to add the container inside the list. fc.container. Alright. Where is the icon ending? It's ending over here. Yeah. The icon under here, and then we have the container. I just need to add some... Wait, let me see. Maybe there's some space now. I just added container, right? So the container must have added some extra space as well. It actually didn't do that. So let me just add the padding, I guess. 10 is going to be enough. Okay, I just want padding to the specific right side only. Padding, okay, to the right. Just padding is equal to ft dot padding dot right. ft dot what? ft dot padding bracket right is equal to 20. Okay. ft dot padding bracket right equal 20. All right. That should work. What? Padding is missing 3 position argument, left, top, and bottom. Missing 3 positional arguments, left, right, and bottom. How do I keep them empty? Alright, so even if I use left, right, and bottom, I need to keep them empty somehow. None. Alright, just initialize them to none. So left is equal to none. And right is equal to, come on, give me it, bro. Is equal to none. Left, right, bottom is equal to none. Now this should work. Keyword argument repeated, right? How do I repeat right? Oh, yeah, I did repeat it. So right, left, bottom, and this is going to be top. Alright, top. Yep, that is looking good. Much better. Much better. Alright, so what I want to do next is I want to bring this to the center. So like horizontal and vertical alignment to be to the center. Okay, where is the default text? Let me see where the default text is. It's over here. Okay, it's over here. Now, what I want to keep in mind is default text is being added somewhere, right? It's going to be added somewhere, yeah. It's over here. It's being added in the middle. Middle is a container, and it's a column. So what I can do here is, if I do it over here, everything I type is also going to come in the middle. I just want this to be in the middle initially. If I type it inside that over here, everything that I press in the text field is also going to get centered. So what I can do is, it doesn't have alignment because this is a text. Alright. What I can do is put this inside a container. Put this inside a container and set the property alignment to c.main axis alignment dot center. This is only going to put the, okay, it's going to be control, it's going to be at the center. So now this is going to put a container in the column in the center. Alright, we have an error. Let's see what the error was. Okay, mapping proxy object has no attribute dict. Okay. Mapping proxy attribute has no, what? I don't know, it was something like this, right? Dictionary. Alignment is not a valid property for a container. That Python complains. Flet is trying to handle the invalid argument. Container uses alignment ft dot alignment that's entered. What? ft dot alignment that's entered. Okay. That alignment dot center. So should that fix? That should fix this, right? Yes, it does fix it. Okay, it worked. ft dot alignment dot center. Horizontally, it got centered. I want to center it vertically as well. No, that would center the newly entered text as well, right? Trick is keep middle vertically expanding true. What do you mean? So the trick is center the placeholder only, not the column that will hold messages. I'm in that top left. So this is a container. It's gonna send. If I use it over here, it's gonna center it both vertically and horizontally. All right. So how does the text, nothing to show here, get centered both horizontally and vertically? Use a column inside a middle container. Okay, it's vertical centering and horizontal centering. So the column, whatever is inside it, it's going to center. Okay. The default text. Was the message added? Replace content with normal messages. Call lines at the top. Expanded container makes the column fill available vertical space, so centering actually works. So how would the whole code look like? Okay, yeah, when the chat is empty. The placeholder is removed once you type a message. Okay. Okay, placeholder, call out hold the messages. Yeah, that is it. This is a middle container, vertically and horizontally. This isn't this kind of like center only horizontally? Wait. You know what? This is. Where are you doing that vertically and horizontally? You said. Mhm. Okay, now this is like too much for me to process right now. I'm gonna have to like rework my whole code. Let's see. What do we have working right now? Okay, this is like enough for now. But there is bottom center as well. Let's try that. Nope. That is not working. Center left, center right, top center, bottom center. It's in a column, right? This container gets added here, and the list gets entered. You know what? I guess this is like enough for today. There are so many logics I need to work on. So it works, so that's it. Alright, I'm gonna wrap up the video. I'm just gonna scroll slowly so that you can see the whole code. Or what I can do is I'm gonna add the GitHub link to this repository. I'm gonna add the link to all this code. I'm gonna put it on GitHub in a repository. You can get the code there. I'll put the link in the description. So no need to worry. So that's it for today. Hope you had a great day. Thank you so much.